You know, in South Africa, there's this frustration that so many of us feel. There's just a lot of talk, right? But not always a lot of action. And the advice we always get is the same: never give up, be determined, push harder. It's what we tell anyone with a big dream. But here's a thought: what if that advice isn't just unhelpful? What if it's actually wrong? Okay, let's get into this.
And boom, there it is. A quote from the thinker Olakunle Sorian that just cuts right through everything we think we know about success. He's actually suggesting that for some people, the absolute best thing they can do is to stop, to give up. Now that is a shocking idea, isn't it? But it makes us ask a really important question.
I mean, come on, everything we've ever been taught, every single motivational speech we've ever heard, it all says that perseverance is the magic ingredient. So could it really be that this one-size-fits-all advice is actually holding people back? Let's break down what the real barriers to progress might be. Yeah, the real barriers, why determination is not enough. Because the truth is, the path from a great idea to actual success, well, it isn't some straight line that you can just power through with sheer grit. It's more like a winding road. It's full of all these complex obstacles. And just telling someone to push harder is like telling them to just ignore the map completely. And this slide, wow, this breaks down those really personal battles that so many of us face. You've got that raw fear of failure, right? Especially when it's your own money on the line. Then there's the paralysis that comes from not knowing how to turn this huge, amazing dream into tiny, manageable steps. And maybe the biggest one of all, it is so safe and it's so exciting to talk about a dream, but it is absolutely terrifying to take the real, vulnerable steps to actually make it happen. Okay, so these inner hurdles are universal for sure, but in the South African context, they get magnified by these massive systemic issues that go way beyond an individual's mindset. The environment itself, well, it presents a whole different set of challenges. And this table just illustrates the disconnect so perfectly. On one hand, South Africa has one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. We hear this constantly. And yet, 7.7 billion rand is spent on alcohol in a single week. Now, this isn't a judgment, it's just a data point that shows this deeper societal paradox that pure hustle alone just cannot fix. And the cost of this paradox? Well, it's just staggering. Nearly 38 billion rand. That's the estimated economic hit from issues tied to alcohol abuse. All that money just lost from the system because of absenteeism, crime, and lost productivity. This is the tough reality that new ideas and determined people are really up against. So, an uncomfortable diagnosis, the invisible obstacles to progress. If determination isn't enough and the systemic problems are this huge, what is really going on? Olakunle Sorian offers a pretty uncomfortable diagnosis, pointing to these invisible obstacles that we almost never talk about. He introduces this really challenging concept he calls nuisance value. It's this idea that for some people, their negative impact on everyone around them is just so high that giving them more resources, more money, more power would actually be destructive. Surian tells this story about a young man who declared he was going to buy a car that year, and instead of encouraging him, Sarian said, "May you never do it." Why? Because even without any money, this young man was already a major stress to everyone in his life. With a car and more resources, his nuisance value would just be amplified. So you see, the crucial point is this: the problem was not a lack of ambition. It was a lack of character. He also points to another invisible barrier: confident ignorance. You know what this is. It's knowing absolutely nothing, but being completely, blissfully unaware of it. It's carrying your lack of knowledge with immense style and swag, which means you never have the humility to actually stop and learn. And this really brings us to the absolute core of the argument. The things we can see, the money, the car, the job title, those are actually our weakest assets. The most critical assets, the ones that truly shape our lives, are invisible. It's the quality of our thoughts and the strength of our character. All of this forces us to redefine what we're even aiming for. Maybe the goal shouldn't just be success. Maybe we need to be aiming for something much bigger, something Sorian calls greatness. Okay, let's look at this comparison side by side. Success, it's often fueled by hard work, right? It's aimed at personal gain, and honestly, it can sometimes feel a little empty. But greatness requires sacrifice. Its goal is societal impact, and its outcome is a lasting legacy. Think about it. Hard work can make you a successful lawyer, but it takes sacrifice to become a Nelson Mandela. And that quote just nails it.
What Africa needs, Sorian argues, isn't just more successful people. We already have plenty of people who know how to plan and set goals and manage projects. But here's the thing, a skill is neutral. You can use project management skills to build a hospital, or you can use them to rob a bank. What we need are game changers, great people whose values actually lift up society.
Okay, so if the old model of just hustling harder is flawed, what's the alternative? Well, this final idea is a pretty radical shift in strategy, moving from hustling to positioning.
Yup, this is a direct shot at the hustle culture we all celebrate. The advice is blunt: stop hustling. Hustling is framed here as an act of desperation, a weak strategy. There's a much, much smarter way to operate.
And this is the art of positioning. Instead of chasing your dreams, you build a life that attracts them. So how do you do that? By carefully curating your environment, your network, and most importantly, by being absolutely ruthless about who gets your time. Look at it this way. If your dream is to launch a tech startup, you don't just hustle blindly. You position yourself in the communities, online and offline, where the funders and the developers and the mentors already are. Destiny in this view is location sensitive. Your dream is out there looking for you. You just have to be in the right place for it to find you.
And this is exactly why positioning is so critical. The people in your life, they are everything. They can be the vehicle for your elevation, or they can be the agent of your destruction. The difference in your life will ultimately come down to the difference in the people you surround yourself with.
So, we end with this. It's not about how hard you hustle or whether you never give up. It's a much deeper, more personal question. Who has qualified for your time? Who have you given the incredible gift of access to your life? Because that choice, more than any amount of pure determination, might just be the thing that truly defines your future.